Our emotions are a powerful tool, pretty interesting yet dangerous thing. On the one hand, they give us energy and to live and act. On the other hand, they might crush us and turn our life into a nightmare. There were countless number of books written about our emotions. Sadly, most of them are utter nonsense. Emotions are indicators that characterize current developments and help forecast the future. Thereby, the reverse causality loop is formed, which we often struggle getting out of. If we experience a particular emotion multiple times, it shapes up the emotional background of our life, which in its turn determines our life views. The life views influence the world outlook, which our judgments and decisions are based on. Eventually, the intellect is always ready to explain obligingly why what is happening is normal. The brain can easily prove to us that it had to happen, which consequently ensures that further events will be of the same nature. It is actually a good thing if that reverse causality loop is tied with a positive emotion. This is about a so called winner outlook that is a very attractive topic for various gurus of personal development. Admittedly, though, this winner attitude of mind that persists from a victory to victory and carries only positive expectations from life is a kind of anomaly. Moreover, it's not bound to last for a long time, as you can be winning constantly. Sooner or later, even absolute winners break down and lean into a personal nightmare. Because our intellect is a threat and problem searching tool, and problems are detected easier and more distinctly than any successes and achievements. There are a lot of coffee table books about breaking this reverse causality loop, but as usual, most of them are trash. Well, overwhelming majority of people don't even think about it, as for them emotions are something alien that comes from outside. Thereby, negative goings on are construed as a norm. Such is life, they say. Once accepted it, people continue living in this paradigm when everything is bad and becomes only worse. The option to change negativity with positivity artificially doesn't work either. This is about putting up a smile when you feel terrible, or, for instance, ignoring toxicity and focusing on something good. Such an approach is nothing else but the way to the mental ward. Nevertheless, a possibility to get out of that loop does exist. It's not an easy task, as the only tool in our possession to steer life is the intellect. Anything aside from that is actually out of our control. So, how to transform the intellect from the source of problems into the instrument for solving them? You have to work on the aforementioned reverse causality chain, starting from the end and moving towards the beginning. By means of the intellect, we build mental constructions and incorporate them into our world picture. This picture forms our life views. Changed life views determine our emotional background and thereby emotions that we experience in life. The intellect controls our emotions indirectly via that complicated chain of connected events. Unfortunately, there is no other options. However, this all is not overly difficult. At this point, it's time to mention again that our life is a game. This concept explains everything to the fullest extent possible. Emotions that we experience arise in the process of playing something in this life. No matter the nature of those emotions, the aspect which is really important is their intensity. The more intense the emotions are, the more we are involved in a game. The more we are involved, the less our chances to quit the game. Again, no matter what you want or don't want, the intensity of emotions is the only thing that matters. You take, for instance, a man that is losing at a gambling table. He's experiencing a real emotional storm, and therefore he's not able to quit because he's being deeply involved. He's going to lose every single cent, but he's unable to stop as long as he has at least something. Most people behave exactly in the same way. If we accept the idea that our life is a manifold of various games, we're granted an understanding of how to quit one. A game ends the moment we get bored and it does not turn us on anymore. When we have had enough and don't want to play it, we are just disinterested and can't get involved. This is when a game is truly over. In order to quit a game that brings us suffering, above all things, we have to understand why we began to play it in the first place. Because we are unable just to stop it at our whim without finding the explanation of what it is about. What is this game about? Why do you lose all the time? The chain of your negative emotions reflects the chain of your losses, which is a manifestation of impossibility for you to win there. You sat at the gambling table not having any preliminary knowledge about the rules. You get hooked up with card sharpers being convicted that they are good and kind people, or maybe even chumps that you would assumingly beat without sweating. But if a negative outcome becomes systematic and feels like in the order of things, you have no other choice left but to admit that you started a game not knowing what would be going on. Therefore, you were just unable to win. Every game that we encounter in our life is an educational one where we learn something. All games, one way or another, point out for us wrong attitudes that should be got rid of. What kind of incorrect beliefs did you have prior to sitting down to play? They are the reason why the things are hard for you. Thought people were selfless and benevolent. Then you have to accept that people are not quite like this. You expected from the society to appreciate your efforts and talents. The society doesn't give a damn about that. You started a game with the purpose to achieve success, but failed. What was your mistake? What was that negative attitude that was forcing you to try to win in a game that is not winnable? Having found an answer, we automatically finish the game and become able to feel life saving boredom and live on. We grasped the gist of the game and are in the right now to move further and try ourselves in other, more interesting and complicated games. Remember, life is not a punishment. This is a school where you study via playing. The games are real, however gloomy and baffling they might be. These are just games. You can be a winner, you can abstain from playing, but if you went out onto a playing field, it's your problem. Don't ever complain. It was your decision, nobody forced you. So shut up and take your turn.